Welcome back to Everything Mets. In today's video, we're going to start doing some player previews, and these are all just mainly my assumptions, honestly. Right now, it's just the final week of February, so we haven't even seen any spring training yet. So, getting into the video and how today's video is going to work a little bit. I'm assuming 20 of the 26 roster spots are already somewhat set in stone, and as I get to each position, any player that you feel, or honestly any player that I feel is a fringe player that may or may not make the roster and is very close, they're in a position battle with someone else, they will have their own video where I just discuss them all in their own separate video. As I get to each position, you'll see the 20 that I think are obviously have their places cemented already. Just one more thing before I get into these previews on the catchers and everything. I'm not the biggest analytical guy, but I'm not against them either, so I may drop a few stats here and there. But I definitely don't live and die by them like some people do these days. Just one more quick thing. The stats from last year, obviously, with the 60-game season aren't the best. You can't get a good grasp of anything, and they don't carry over well from season to season, so probably not going to get too deep into those on each player for this season. In projections, you can't really get too deep in those anyways either, in my opinion at least. So the first player we'll be talking about today is James McCann. He's coming into his first season with the Mets after spending the last two seasons with the White Sox where he was an All-Star in 2019. He signed with the Mets in the offseason on a 4-year, $40 million contract. Last year he had a .289 batting average with a .360 on-base percentage and a .563 slugging with an .896 OPS. He also added 7 home runs to go with those numbers. This is his first time in a National League uniform. Prior to his 2 years with the White Sox, he spent 5 years with Detroit. And then honestly, once he got to Chicago, he really started to take off. Like I said, in 2019, his All-Star season, he had 18 homers and 60 RBIs, and last year, honestly, the whole season was just a total crapshoot, to be honest, so we'll see how he can bounce back, honestly, this year and get a full season for him again and just have him show what he can really do over the 100 games or so, and not that he won whatever he played last year. So getting into the next player now, assuming the backup catcher is going to be this season for the Mets, Tomas Nido. He's entering into his 5th season with the Mets. He only got in 7 games last year out of the 60, as he backed up Wilson Ramos most of the season, was hampered by injuries. And just a word on Ramos, he went to Detroit on a 1-year, $2 million deal, if you didn't know that. Hopefully the Buffalo can help them. They're going to need all the veteran leadership they can get up there in Detroit. And back to Nido. And since it was last season was so short, like I said, he only got 7 games and he was hampered by injury, so we'll see if he can bounce back this year, just getting more game time, really. One thing he definitely does have to improve on is with his bat, as last year, but in the 7 games he did play, don't get me wrong, he did do well, but it was just 7 games, so you got to take that with a grain of salt. But before that, in 18 and 19, in the season before that, he really isn't that good with the bat, so he needs to improve with that, just want to stick, really, and become a major league catcher, in my opinion at least. But he's a decent backup catcher for what we gotten with McCann and a starter, so I'm happy with what we got for the backup. So, and honestly, Nido's defense is pretty good, so that's not an issue really at all. Behind the plate, he's good. And if he can just improve with the bat, like I said, he'll become more valuable to us, or honestly, as possibly as a trade piece we could use him as, in my opinion, to just move him around and get something, or get a prospect or something, or he can just be a throw-in piece or just add a piece in if we need something in July or something, or sometime through the season. But that's just my opinion. That's honestly, not that I want him to get traded by any means. But as a whole, as a position, I feel pretty good about the catcher position. Honestly, the best I felt about the catcher position for the Mets in a long time. Since we know we've got our man for the next few years, and it's not going to be just a rotation of catchers in and out every night. So like I said, it feels good to just be comfortable with 2 that I feel comfortable with. And obviously, the $40 man McCann's going to be the starter and probably going to get upwards of 100 games, which he should. And Nido's probably going to get somewhere around 60 to 70 and that's honestly good though. And that's if something doesn't happen, and hopefully injuries are prevented in this year and we don't have any injury issues behind the plate and all that, and just it's all clean and clear. But honestly, it's the Mets, so we know they will, and everything, it'll somehow fall apart by the end of April. But no, I'm just kidding. But it's been your catcher player preview. Hit that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more Mets content.